that is something that we look at a lot of times when we do get new students into the district and we can get them to where they need to be. Master's is the highest of that level, and so you really work with a kid to get them to that point. And so some of our students, again, we've gone from 5,000 to 11,000, have not had an opportunity to really go through that entire process with Cleveland ISD, and I anticipate that that master's will rise back up shortly. The annual report, again, I want to talk to you about demographic data because we compare ourselves with the state quite often, but we are not like the state. I don't think I have to explain to anyone in this room how Cleveland is a very unique place, a very wonderful place for kids. And so with that being said, our state numbers and our district numbers are not in alignment. I want to point out the economically disadvantaged numbers. In this district, 94.4% of our students were identified as economically disadvantaged. In the state, that was only 62%. And so when we look at our scores and look at our comparison, we are not just comparing ourselves against other districts that are just like us. We're comparing ourselves with districts across the state. Much bigger, much smaller, much larger, all unique. But we definitely have a very high economic disadvantaged population that overshadows the state quite a bit, as well as, if I could draw your attention just to the teachers. Beginning teachers in 2022, and to talk to the teacher shortage for a moment that we're all experiencing in the state and the country. In 2022, there were 16.8% beginning teachers in this district, reported by the TAPR. For 22-23, that rose to 34.8. And the state is at 9.7. Teachers 1 to 5, the state's at 9. For us teachers 1 through 5 years, we went from 47% essentially to 33. And then our numbers compared to the state, we have almost twice as many beginning 0 to 5 year teachers than the state would have as a whole. We're working very diligently with our new teachers, our IATs, and our beginning teachers to help them prepare for the classroom. The second part of this report is the PEAMS Financial Standards Report. I'm not going to really go into detail on this other than you can find the 21-22 actual financial data there for the district and each campus. 3 is our district accreditation status. Each year, TEA assigns 1 of 4 accreditation statuses to each district in the state. Of course, Cleveland ISD is accredited. Campus performance objectives are also listed for your review in that information. Report on violent and criminal incidents. This is required for us to publish as a part of our annual report to talk about the number, rate, and type of violent or criminal incidents that occurred on each campus. So with that being said, Cleveland ISD for 22-23 had a total of 5,524 disciplinary incidents. That can be any type of disciplinary incident. There were only 28 reported as violent or criminal out of that 5,524. What we are doing and continue to do to mitigate that is we have our student handbook and code of conduct, which is enforced by our campuses. We train staff annually. We provide counseling and social skills to students, mental health and first aid training. We have nonviolent crisis intervention, base education, second step, and then drills conducted through the year as required. Student performance in post-secondary institutions. Now, this is data that is not compiled by Cleveland ISD. It's actually compiled by the Higher Education College Board. And what they do is they tell us of our students who have reported. The students don't come back to us. It's reported through the documents in the colleges. But what they do is they say, okay, we got these kids from Cleveland ISD, and this is how their GPA worked out in their first year of school with us. And so I was looking at these numbers. Out of our graduates that were reported going to a 4-year university or a 2-year university, although the numbers are spread out, we did have over 50% or about 50% of our students who went to a secondary institution and had a 3.0 or higher in their first year. The next is our progress of the district and each campus toward meeting our board-adopted HB3 goals. These are goals that the board has approved. With that being said, there is some progress being made in your early childhood literacy. We are steadily moving up. Right now, at this time, we're at 64% middle of the year, which is higher than it was at this time last year. You'll notice that for early childhood literacy 2 for kindergarten, we're at 68% right now, which is up from 57 where we were last year, and then 56 for 24 that's up for progress measure 3, and that's first and second grade students. Our math, our percent of pre-K students that scored on above, or grade level or above in math, the goal was to increase them from 35 to 85% by June of this year. And if you'll look, our pre-K students are almost already at their goal. Now, when you look at kindergarten students, you'll see the numbers a little bit lower, and then first grade's a little bit lower. With that being said, students who come to pre-K typically go to kindergarten and go to first grade. But that is not required in the state of Texas. You're required to start school in first grade. Kindergarten is not required. So what you're saying is kids that probably would have come in at kindergarten or at first grade and not had schooling in pre-K. The last board-adopted goal is the CCMR goal, and the percentage of graduates who meet the criteria for CCMR will increase from 51 to 80% by August 2024. We are doing a good job staying up with our yearly target goals. We were just a couple off. But we do have measures in place to make sure that we are looking at those kids and making sure that we are providing every student an opportunity to be college, career, and military ready. The last part is only the glossary, and that is if anything in the first part, if you need information about it, or if there's something that an acronym, you're not sure what it means, TA provides this glossary to help you kind of understand that. There is supposed to be a Spanish version early this year. That has not come out yet, but when it does, it will be posted with the rest of this. So this is our annual report. If you have, it's currently posted on our website, and then paper copies are available. All you have to do is reach out to us. There will be a paper copy in each office in each campus for public viewing, although we do have a website as well, again, 24/7 access to it. If you have questions or if you need anything else with this, if it needs to be translated, please just give me a call and let me know. My information is there. My name's Dawn O'Connor. I'm the Director of Assessment, Accountability, and Professional Development, and I would be absolutely happy to help you with whatever your needs are. I'll answer any questions that there are now.
I do have one question, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
When we look at the 2022-2023 annual report for the district performance comparison, in 19 we was at 12, we went 12, 9, 10, 6. What is the national average on those? How much below are we on the national level?
Mr. Carter, am I on the right slide?
No, this is way back. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
At the bottom, correct.
So I'm sorry.
Okay, we went. It looked like about a 5% fluctuation. So we went from 12, 9, 10 to 6.
Yes.
So what is the national?
There is no national because this is based on the STAR test, and the STAR test is uniquely
So it's
Texas.
individual campuses, individual districts?
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's no national standard, but I can definitely get y'all, I mean, there's the state rates and the regional rates. If you needed it broken down into any other way, Mr. Carter, I'd be happy to do that for you.
I'm just curious how we dropped that low.
Well, and this is my opinion, this is not fact, but I believe that it has a lot to do with the new test format that came out this fall and the higher rigor. I believe that our students were able to reach a certain point.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the rigor became a little higher with that new test. And there's new question types and things. So I think that as we learn, or as our students learn how to navigate the STAR assessment, I think that we'll see the masters going up, because sometimes we have students who just aren't familiar with the assessment instrument yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a
Yes,
quick
Ms. McMahon.
clarifying question. So you're saying there's not any kind of national ranking or any kind of national report that we get on our schools?
So not like this. What they'll do is there is a national test, and it's called NAEP. And so every few years, NAEP will come, and once in a while, we're selected to participate in that national cohort. We have not been in NAEP for, I believe, it's been 2 years now that they've selected us. But when those reports come out, it doesn't distinguish us by campus or district, but it does provide a national average. And so I think NAEP would be the closest that we would get to actually having a national or federal norm, I suppose. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Next item on the agenda, item 5, public comments regarding this TAPR report. Any public comments? All right, we'll move on. Ms. O'Connor, if you don't mind turning that mic off, please. Thank you. Item 6 on the agenda is public comments open forum. Ms. Williamson, would you mind seeing if anyone signed up? Bring me the sheet, please. Thank you. Mr. President, we do have 3 people who have signed up, an Erica Montes Nieto, an Aaron Montes Nieto, and a Dixie Marshall. Mr. Wood, the board president. Yes. Okay. No, it's to sign up for speaking. You sure you don't want your moment speaking? You're going to pass. All right, thank you, sir. Mr. President, I will read the next name. It is a Dixie Marshall. Dixie Marshall, are you present? If you'll come up to the podium, Ms. O'Connor will help you turn on the speaker, and Mr. Wood, the board president, will outline the expectations for speaking.
Okay, I made the same mistake when it was my first time here and thought, so I was like, it's an attendance sign-up sheet. Okay, but now I actually do want to speak for my whole 3 minutes of fame. I have 2 topics, and I'm passing out 2 pieces of paper. It might not make it all the way to the end on the second one, but the first one is...
Ms. Marshall, before you start, I do need Mr. Wood to outline to you the expectations of a speaker, what you can and cannot say, and then we will restart your 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The board will now hear comments from those that have signed up to speak. Each person will have no more than 3 minutes. The board will listen, but it will not be able to engage in dialogue or respond or act in any way. That's just state law. That's not, we would love to be able to at times, but that's just one of the limitations of this forum. Public comment is not the time or place to bring up actual complaints. If you, please don't use names or employee or child's names. If you have an actual complaint, please go to that campus, that principal, that kind of thing. I believe that covers it for now. You do have your 3 minutes.
Okay, I don't have a
Ms. Brooks?
complaint. My campus is wonderful, the principal's wonderful, and especially the assistant principal that's been helping me with this was very wonderful. So it's just, it's regarding UIL competition, and which is this Saturday. And I understand it's probably too late for this year, but this is what's page is what's in the student handbook about UIL. And it does not state that a child can only participate in one event in the student handbook, but I was told that there's a separate handbook for UIL that says our district only allows, and this is hearsay because I have not seen the UIL handbook, that's why I passed out the second thing, that a student can only participate in one UIL event. The problem is my student, Boy Genius, tried out for 3 events, and he liked all 3, and he made all 3 teams, and the teams are not filled up. Our academic teams are lacking participation. That's an understatement. But basically, the UIL teams are not full. So I'm questioning or wondering why we can't participate in more than one UIL event. Like when I was in school, I played basketball, volleyball, and this. The concern was that the competition is at the same time. I totally get that. So I think the students, my recommendation is that the student pick one main event that they're interested in and back up on the other events that possibly they're interested in if the other teams are not full, basically if there's a lack of interest. And the other form is what, like I said, that's only hearsay because I do not have a copy of the UIL handbook. I wasn't aware of it. Maybe it's online, but I'm not aware of that. And the second thing is because, like I said, the boy genius, he needs more of a challenge. I would like him in bilingual education. And I know some other districts, like Porter Elementary, they have bilingual for non-Spanish speaking homes. And I was wondering, we're a non-Spanish speaking home, but I have introduced my child to Spanish, French, multiple languages prior to age 4. And I would like that as an option for bilingual education for non-Spanish speaking homes. And that be an option to enroll the student in. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, our school was great. I enjoyed the school. He loves school, 100% attendance for the record, and he has on his progress report 2 100s, so that's why he needs more of a challenge. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming and presenting that tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Do we have any other public comments? Anyone else who came in late and did not get to sign up that would like to speak tonight? All right, we will move on. Item 7 is presentations. Item A is proclamation of Leadership East Texas Resolution number 2024-0001 by LET Board Directors. Coming up before us will be Scott Swigert, Kimberly Judge, Jim Carson, Regina Vollmer, Calista House is on the board, Maddie Key, and J. Andrew Rice. And if you'll, yeah. So everybody's going to learn how to work this mic before the night's over. Just hold it down and the green light will come on. There it is. Right there.
There we go. All right. Well, thank you all very much tonight for having us. What a beautiful facility. Y'all are definitely setting the mark high, and we appreciate that. And a lovely facility for the city of Cleveland to have and to have part of our community. So welcome. I am Scott Swigert. I am currently the president and chair of Leadership East Texas, and we are here tonight on behalf of the board to provide a resolution. And so I would like to read that. And so as y'all are familiar, y'all have been a huge supporter of Leadership East Texas for the last 3 years, which is how old we are. We are 3 years in the making. We got our 3rd class going through right now, and Wendy's a part of that program. And so you've been a part of this. You have continued to grow and be in that participation, and we just want to recognize that partnership and provide y'all a resolution. So I'm going to read it to you. Whereas Leadership East Texas, LET, a Texas nonprofit corporation and federally chartered 501c3, provides valuable services to East Texas and the Cleveland Independent School District community by recruiting and educating potential leaders, facilitating relationship building among leaders, and providing professional development and leadership training to current and future leaders in the community. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the district provides district facilities space on district property for LET meetings, presentations, and trainings at no cost, like this facility for our meetings. Whereas the district identifies and encourages employees to apply for and participate in the Leadership East Texas program, and whereas the district distributes LET informational literature to employees as requested by the LET, and whereas the district provides custodial service for LET while utilizing the facilities, and whereas the district provides food services by the Cleveland High School Culinary Arts Program for Leadership East Texas meetings and programs, trainings, upon LET's timely request for such food and service. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Leadership East Texas Board of Directors and at their regular board meeting acknowledge and appreciate the continued partnership and support that the Cleveland Independent School District Board of Trustees provides to Leadership East Texas Board and programs, passed and approved this 9th day of January 2024. So again, thank y'all very much. I want to give this certificate and resolution to y'all on behalf of the board, and just continue to thank you for everything that y'all provide for us and do for us.
Thank you. Yes. And while the board president is receiving that, I would like to note past the first year LET was in operation, they met at the Civic Center, I believe. Aaron Montes Nieto was in that class. We had Brandon Perry in that class, and I believe Mark Rodriguez. There might have been some more. Brandon Perry moved on to be a superintendent in Texas, and Mark Rodriguez moved on to be a principal here in our district. In the second year of the class, which was held in Cleveland ISD, Matt Bienick was in that class. He is now our Director of Communications. And then we have currently in the class, like he said, Wendy. We have our Assistant Director of Nutrition, Susie Little. And there is a diagnostician from the high school. Her name is escaping me. Yes, Darlene Elmore. And then we have Lacey Green also, who is our Director of Nursing here in the district. So this LET leadership building program, while I was on the board, I previously was president-elect, but when it came under the I guess the big brother umbrella of Cleveland ISD, our school district attorney told me, you cannot be the board president of LET and also be the superintendent. So they made me ex officio or some kind of president. I still go to the board meeting. It's a great thing. They function as a separate entity. They're just under the umbrella of Cleveland ISD. And what you do for leaders in this district, not only Cleveland ISD, the city, you have people who work in the city who have moved on to great things. And it's other entities around. It's not just Cleveland. You have people in there from Dayton and Liberty. It's amazing what y'all do.
Thank you.
Item B is on page 35 in the board book, School Board Appreciation Month presentation by Santa Fe elementary students. We have Principal Bun Hunt and numerous students. We all know that students really lead the campus, right?
Okay, they have to get their stuff together. Okay, come on. Good evening, board, Mr. Superintendent. We wanted to thank you, first of all, for allowing us to come out this evening. This is the Santa Fe Paparazzi, AKA the Santa Fe Express. We have our first annual yearbook this year, and this is part of our yearbook team that has gotten together to put our yearbook together, and it's under the direction of the lovely Miss Tilly, and I'm going to turn it over to them because it's about them, not about me.
All right. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Yeah, like Ms. Bonhunt said, this is my yearbook club, and yeah, I think all of them are also in my art club, they would be the people who created your gifts for this evening, the nameplates and the thank you cards, all handmade by the art club. So let me go ahead and go through our presentation real quick. All right, so thank you for the dedicated service to our community and students. Your efforts help us give our best to students every day. Wanted to talk about the teacher morale at Santa Fe. District and administration efforts to promote the success of their staff has created a closer bond between employees, leading to better cooperation and school-wide efforts. And I wanted to start out with the pep rally we have every year. It's always a great time for everybody to say hi, talk about what we did over the summer and just get excited about the year coming up. Standout staff, encouraging teachers, and individuality and exceptionalism is part of the way SFE fosters faculty engagement, leading to happier and more proactive educators. That is definitely one thing at Santa Fe that Ms. Bonhunt just kind of curates in us to want to do more and to get involved in the campus more. Your commitment inspires us to try and make every day great for our students. We are encouraged to create more clubs, and even last year we had a few clubs, and this year we have even more clubs, and it's really exciting to see the students get engaged in extracurricular activities like that. SFE has expanded the extracurricular activities available to students, providing opportunities for further exploration and academic engagement. And it's also really nice to see like where each of the students kind of bloom and find passions. So we're creating more events every year. Creating wonderful memories with our kids is a way we believe promotes student-teacher connections that lead to more successful students. Here we have some Cleveland High School students, athletes came to come say hi to the kids. Some programs that we put on, that's a Christmas program, everybody in their costume. And the turkey trot last semester was incredibly fun, and the kids just got so engaged. And again, I'm the art teacher, but I love seeing, you know, where each kid is different. It's like they're really athletic, and whoa, that's what they get passionate about. Fostering community engagement. We had a really good turnout to our Loteria night, which is like a Latin bingo sort of thing. And the parents were getting real passionate about it, and so it was just fun to see the family get engaged like that. Without you, we wouldn't have the same opportunities to help. We have had 2 families in crisis that we aided, including getting a stove donated. 42 Christmas gifts were donated and led and fulfilled by our campus staff. So that was our campus staff that all got together to get those gifts for the students. 70 students and families were fed with the aid of the Houston Food Bank, and 280 backpacks. That was at the end of December, because I know we've gotten more since then. Backpacks donated by Texas Health Plan Agency and Kingwood Rotary Club. And I do want to say I got to give kudos to Ms. Valladares. I think she was a counselor of the month or something like that. But she's amazing, and she's, you know, always running around everywhere you see her. She's very passionate about helping the students. All right, and just a quick thank you from our kids. And one more, I think. And if I hit enter. Sorry. It's a link that plays. Yes. Okay. Well, at least. Those kids, yes. Okay, and so I have my student here, Jonathan Moncada. He's going to say a few words as well.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Moncada. I'm a fifth grader at Santa Fe Elementary. On behalf of the student of Santa Fe, I want to thank you for all the hard work you do every day to make our school a better place where I can learn. When I grow up, I want to be a soccer player and an FBI agent. I believe Santa Fe Elementary will give me the education that I need to be successful in my goals. In my school, my teachers make lessons that are fun to learn. They also let us explore and be creative. I want to say thank you for your work at Cleveland ISD, which helps my teachers give us the best education possible.
Again, thank you, board, so much for everything you do. I know that your time is volunteer, and it's just incredibly awe-inspiring to see members of the community, you know, be that passionate about the education, the future of our community. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I want to introduce, this is Genesis Ariana Amaya, and now I just lost your name. Sanchez, and then, of course, Jonathan's one of our, and all of these guys are fifth graders. And they're our little paparazzi that run around shooting pictures all the time.
Thank you so much. Keep up the fantastic work at Santa Fe Elementary. The next item, item C, is on page 49 in the board book, presentation regarding DAEP and DLA classes and programs, presented by Douglas Principal Mark Rodriguez and Mr. Sims, our DAEP principal.
Hello, hello. Hi, my name is Mark Rodriguez. I am the principal of Douglas Learning Academy, and also up here with me is Mr. Scott Sims. He is the principal of our DAEP campus. And even though our two campuses share the same address, 900 Sam Wiley Street, we are two different programs. And so the board, or we were asked to present to the board on our different programs. Mr. Sims is going to start off by sharing some good things that we're doing at DAP, and then I'm going to follow up with some quick words about DLA.
All right, first off, I would like to thank you, board, and Mr. McCandless for giving us this opportunity to share the great things going on at DAP. So I just want to talk a little bit about how DAP works in general. So all students who come to DAP are going to be in their 4 core classes soon. Still, that's English, math, social studies, and science. They're also going to receive their CTE classes or elective classes through Canvas. All students will also receive social emotional learning, and we also have them doing PE every other day. A new thing that I've started at DAP this year as well is every Friday we try to get students to talk about their goal settings, and we try to get this for both careers and academics. So what are you trying to do when you return to school? What are you trying to improve on then? And also when you get out of school, what are your goals? And it really helps them align the two to see how they intertwine. This year we've also started a drug education class. So students serve 1 day at DAP for being in possession of a nicotine vape, or if it's their first time of being under the influence. Any student sent to DAP for a drug charge is going to take this drug education class. In January alone, we have served 54 students already. Students will learn about the consequences of drugs on their health and their relationships. Their parents also attend for about an hour with them. The parents are going to learn different things like what to look out for and how to assist their student if they're involved with drugs. And this, again, I've sat in this program. There's also great conversations that I've heard. Parents are there with their kids. They really open up with each other. Sometimes parents have dialogue with each other, and I think it's been great for the kids in general. On top of the drug education, we also offer the ADAPT counseling. So any student sent to DAP for a drug-related charge will receive an ADAPT consent form. Students receive small group sessions, drug education counseling, and coping skills. And then these students, I've had them, when I'm greeting them in the morning, they're asking, is Miss Sheila going to pull me today? Is she going to talk to me? So they're like getting excited about these counseling. And for high school students, I think that's a rare thing. For DAP students, that's even more impressive, I think. So she's doing a great job with them. The sessions are provided Monday through Thursday. They also help students find social support groups. Because I don't know, I'm sure most of you do know, whenever you're going through this fight, you can't really do it alone. You have to find a support group. So, we have staff there at DAP, but they also need peers and stuff that are outside and that are more positive supports for these students.
All right, I'm going to talk about Douglas Learning Academy. So when I tell people I'm the principal of Douglas Learning Academy, it's an alternative high school, usually the first question is, oh, you're dealing with the disciplined kids. And I say, no, this is Cleveland ISD's at-risk high school. As we saw through the data that Ms. O'Connor shared earlier, we're looking at the majority of our district fall under the at-risk category. And at Douglas, we go a step beyond and serve the highly severe at-risk students. So any student who is a part of Cleveland High School is eligible for our program if they fall within that extreme at-risk classification. That can include students who are pregnant, students who have severe financial issues, students who are far behind on their credits. Our goal is to reach as many students as possible in order to help them graduate and help the district's overall graduation numbers. At Douglas, the students will go through their core classes of English, Math, Science, and Social Studies. We also offer business and PE electives, and we also offer welding courses for students who are interested. And through our welding classes, our students can get certifications that they can take with them straight to the job field if that's what they choose. So the numbers you see before you are just a bit outdated. They're from February 9th. I've got some updated numbers for you. Our current enrollment is 85. The enrollment, I'm going to say kind of yo-yos because over the last few weeks I've been enrolling students and then turn around and graduate the same number of kids that day. So 84 is the most, 85 is the most that we've had on campus at one time in DLA's history, and we're looking to get that a little higher as we go throughout the rest of the school year. Overall, we've had 169 total students enrolled at Douglas Learning Academy, and our current graduates as of today is actually 72. So we really pushed the student. Oh, thank y'all. Douglas is an at-your-own-pace school, and so we really encourage our students, one, if they come into our campus behind from graduating with their cohort, this is the perfect opportunity for them to get caught up as they are able to do their work at a faster pace on campus as well as do their core classes at home. And for students who are in dire need, we offer them the opportunity to finish at their own pace. I have several students who unfortunately have to carry the burden of helping provide for their family. And so they're great students, they love school, but unfortunately they have to work probably more than some of us in this room have to make sure that their parents and their younger siblings are provided for. So we offer that opportunity for students to work at their own pace, to work at a faster pace so they can graduate and truly commit to their jobs to help take care of their family. I've got some pictures just showing some of the things going on at DLA. We've got 2 pictures of our welding program. I want to give it up to my welding teacher, Mr. Tom Jones. When he first came to Douglas 6 or 7 years ago, he built that welding shop on his own and has really grown the welding program. Even students who weren't involved in welding at CHS, we give them that opportunity to join in welding, and he takes them having known nothing and works. We always make sure they try to get at least one certification before they graduate. We also offer education on post-high school opportunities. We've had representatives from Lone Star College come by. We've had representatives from different trade schools, including Universal Technical Institute. They come and offer our students an opportunity, education on what they can do after high school. So especially with this group, we don't have as many go to college. We have some that go to Lone Star, and we do our best to get them prepared for Lone Star, but we do have a lot who are very interested in the technical field. So schools like UTI and having that opportunity for our students is a great opportunity for them. And we're going to close off our presentation. We have a short presentation from a student who was at DAP and is currently at Douglas, and she's going to share her experiences at DAP and at DLA.
how you act. It doesn't matter the way you look or the way you talk. Well, it does kind of matter the way you talk. You have to talk like properly so people can understand you, so people don't view you as like this person isn't gonna go anywhere. So people take you seriously. There's a certain way you have to carry yourself and act. You can't act ignorant. You can't act upset all the time because people are talking to you. You have to respond the way you want to be viewed. If you want to be viewed as someone who isn't serious about their life, then that's how you will be viewed. But if you really want to be viewed as someone who's serious about their life, as someone who is meant to be taken seriously, then you have to be serious. You have to quit the childish act. You have to quit the throwing the tantrums and the fits, and you have to communicate like an adult. I think the benefits of me coming here to DLA was helping me get on the right track. Like, I'm much more focused now. I have goals that I want to achieve. And before that, I didn't really have goals. I didn't really think about my future. I'm not gonna lie. But now I do because I realized that it was actually important. And here at DLA, it's too easy. It's too easy to not get stuff done. So I get stuff done now. Like, I'm focused on my goals. Like, there's nothing anymore in the way of blocking me from reaching my goals. Right here is where I'm supposed to be, where I need to be to achieve them, and I can't do it because I have so much support from the staff. They're always looking out for me. They're always helping me to do better. If I need help on any courses, any classes, they're there to help me out. And I just feel like I'm focused on the right things now. I'm not focused on anything else but getting my courses done, graduating, and being able to start my life the way I always wanted to start my life. And I never believed that I could have the life that I wanted until I came here and I realized how easy it really is. It's so simple. You just have to want it.
So, in conclusion, Mr. Sims and I both having been at Cleveland High School before we got into our current roles, so many great things are going on over there, but just coming back from COVID, there's a large number of students who just can't do the large setting. They can't do the traditional setting. And whether it is at DAP or at DLA, we're doing our best to empower our staffs to make sure we're reaching out to those students who just don't fit in or can't handle the everyday stresses of school, and giving them a different environment to flourish and still be productive adults once they finish high school. So we thank y'all very much for our time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Sims. Item D on the agenda, it's on page 57 in the board book, presentation regarding the National Board Certification Process. Deputy Superintendent Mr. Fritz will present.
I tell you what, I'm a little, do I really have to follow that student? Listening to that, if you don't know why what we do is purposeful, that just outlines it to a T. And again, Mark, that's just fantastic, and Mr. Sims, fantastic. Board members, Board President, Superintendent Mr. McCandless, thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight. This presentation is for informational purposes only. It is going to be relatively short and sweet. I'll be talking about the National Board Certification particular program. The focal point is primarily going to be on reimbursements. And quickly, before I get started as well, I do want to thank Ms. Williamson. She's looped in with this particular program pretty intensively, so she was able to provide some good data for me here tonight as well. So when we move on to our first slide here, it's broken down into 4 quick and easy steps The NBCT stands for National Board Certified Teacher. And the particular process is that once our certified teacher finishes the particular program, at that particular point, they will bring all their credentials and everything to Human Resources. Human Resources at that particular point, they're going to do the vetting and the validation of the certificate, the financial statements, and then at that particular point, once that stuff is vetted, then the reimbursement process can move forward for the district reimbursement, which is actually step 3. Then the final step is we'll submit for the reimbursement to the actual state, the TIA program, which is a Texas teacher incentive allotment that we have ushered into the district as well. I'm not going to get into the weeds as much with that particular program because it's going to probably be a couple years in district before that program fully matures. So why did we get here? What's my purpose for being here tonight? Is this was thrown on my desk pretty quickly as a result of Bobby Rodriguez. As y'all well know, she is our Northside teacher. She completed the program in 3 months. This is a 4-component program. It's supposed to take 18 months. However, she decided to fast track and take all 4 components at the same time. So again, this is what's prompted me to be here tonight in such a fast and quick fashion because we need to provide some reimbursement for Ms. Rodriguez. Now, the awesome thing is now we have 8 teachers currently enrolled into the National Board Certification. And to kind of give you an idea, roughly give or take, there's about 1,300 nationally board certified teachers in the state. Take into consideration the state of Texas, roughly, I'm always looking at the numbers. They seem to vary about 345,000 teachers in the state. So this can kind of give you an idea. We have 1 already that fast-tracked, and now we have 8 more that are on their way to becoming nationally board certified. And again, the importance of just speaking on this tonight is just to continue to show the board the creativity of this district as far as, just as we captured up here, to recognize, reward, and more importantly, retain our classroom teachers. We want to continue to make efforts as a district, especially to retain. It's been touched upon already tonight, the difficulty it is getting certified teachers. So as a district, we just want to kind of just show the board that we're trying essentially everything that we can, anything that makes sense, we're going to try to get implemented to ensure those future successes. So now it's the need for funding. The teacher incentive allotment, again, it's a more labor-intensive program that we are implementing into the district. It's going to probably take a couple years before it's full implementation. So what we have to do in the interim is we have to provide reimbursement for the national board certified folks. So we can, again, it's a part of our promise to them by going into the particular program. We've already discussed with Karen the reimbursement piece. She did actually mention that more than likely, I think it's general funds. Thankfully, being a responsible and financially sound district, when things like this come up, when I went to Karen and actually asked her about this funding source, she told me within about 2 seconds where it's going to come from. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. In regards to our reimbursement request, again, another thing that's prompted me to be here tonight is we have to make sure we have everything in by March 31st to TEA. So those reimbursements can actually come back to us. The beauty of this particular program, yes, we're going to kind of front load this thing and provide some reimbursement up front, but this funding is actually coming back to us on the back end, so it won't be out of pocket for the district. The limitations to the particular program itself, When you sign up for the program and you go through, it's 4 components at $475 a piece. So it's a total of $1,900 as long as they pass and they go through the first time. That's fully reimbursed. Every 5 years to maintain that certification is $495. So that will be reimbursed as well. Now, the caveat to this as far as where we're not going to reimburse, and the state reimburse, so keep in mind, I just want to reiterate the fact that even though we are reimbursing out of our funds, it will come back to us. The registration fees and the retake fees, so if they fail a component and they actually have to retake that particular component, that retake fee is going to be on them. It's not going to be on us as a district. Now getting to the really good part, when you actually look at the last line item up there, once they actually become nationally board certified, in the teacher incentive allotment, there's a recognized pay status that's associated with the Texas or the teacher incentive allotment. So when these folks get the certification, the payout breakdown, which is an allotment, that payout breakdown, there's a scaling tool for it. So it won't be the same for each particular campus. So it's going to get inputted into this particular scaling tool, and then it's going to let us know how much this particular teacher is going to make. And this is going to be annually. So in this particular case with Bobby Rodriguez, she's going to be receiving $6,672 to adhere to the program. We're going to have that paid out to her by August 31st, and then that settle-up period with the state in September will be in, the settle-up period will be reimbursed those funds that we've actually allocated. Sorry, Mark, with the $6,672, that will be taxed, okay? So it's not going to be a straight amount, so, but again, it's a fantastic program for our teachers. And then just to wrap up, I just want to lastly congratulate Bobby Rodriguez because, again, she is the one that is our first. She is getting this thing started. And I just think the more as a district, when we kind of, this is one of our marketing tools. $6,672, that's reoccurring every year. It's not a one-shot deal. So for any teachers out there that are looking to make some extra money, put in a little bit of work, and the reward on the back end is substantial. That is not just a small incremental amount of money. So again, as a district, again, board, we want to market ourselves as a district the best we can. And let's face it, when you're actually shelling out that kind of money, that's enough to draw some folks here. So that wraps up my presentation tonight. Again, it's just one of those things that we just want to keep the board up to speed on these initiatives that we are doing in district, even though we are at the infancy stage of this. But again, we just want to let you know the good things that are going on. Is there any questions tonight?
I have one. I'm sure you knew that. First of all, congratulations, Ms. Rodriguez. But my question is, if there's a teacher that's coming from another district that has the same thing, do we accept that teacher into our district?
Yes.
And if she was to leave, then that reimbursement, whatever it is, goes along with her?
Once they become nationally board certified, that follows them from district to district. Now, the thing is, the responsibility is what doesn't follow. So, for example, if all of a sudden we had 20 nationally board certified teachers, the districts that they go to will now be responsible for carrying that out. And now the other thing is too, Mr. Carter, I think that's a really good question because when our nationally board certified teachers, if they leave us, that allocation gets recalculated based on the new district that they go to because, again, there's the scaling tool and it is campus specific throughout the state. So if they do decide to go to a neighboring district, those monies will actually be recalculated.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. Next item on the agenda, item E, it's on page 62 in the board book. Presentation regarding the TASBO, Texas Association of School Business Officials Custodial Audit. Mr. Cody Cox will do the presentation.
Honestly, I know you can hear me. I've never had that problem since first grade. So I felt it was important that we did an audit, so I did my own internal audit, and then we brought TASBO in. They're our state association who helps us and supports us in operations. So the areas of the audit, we were looking at staffing, standard operating procedures, work shifts, and outsourced products and supplies. And the reason those areas were picked is mostly because that's where the bulk of the expenditures come from. So that's what costs us the money to keep the place afloat. Areas of conversation that we did talk about was reduction in expenditures and then budget impact. We're going to go over that in a later slide. Okay, so results of the audit staffing, they did come back and say that we were overstaffed. That wasn't a surprise. They said by 56 FTEs, so there will be a reduction in staff through attrition. Nobody's going to be losing a position. As people resign, we'll keep moving people around until we get it down to the staffing ratios that is recommended by TASBO. Those recommendations come from square footage of cleaning. So it's APA standards, APPA, feel free to look it up. And that's what the state goes off of. And so they consider so many square footage per custodian, and we were way under that. So we had like 2.5 custodians to where they say we should have 1. We didn't crunch it down to where they said we should crunch it down to, right? We don't want to pull the Band-Aid off, right? We have to have systems in place, but we are working towards getting to that efficiency level. We don't currently have anybody in the department that does inventory or training, and so that's another lack of need that we have. And so we'll be looking at implementing those throughout time and again through attrition, right? So as we reduce the number of custodians, that'll free up monies to be able to do things like that. The biggest problem right now that we have is, again, training. We have a lot of custodians in our district, and that's just because we're a large district, and we don't have anybody to train them outside of the management team. So the day-to-day operations of keeping management things going on, there's just not a lot of time left to do training. And then we're also looking at implementing full-time floating custodians. So basically what that means is when a custodian is out right now, because we have an abundance of custodians on one campus, there's extra people that can step in and do that. Well, when you get efficient, you no longer have those extra people, right? So now there's nobody to do that work. So that's where the floating custodians come in, and they'll go to whatever campus has it. It's kind of like substitute teachers, right? We don't just say, well, you're going to teach 2 classes today, or we try not to, right? And so the goal would be to have somebody that will report to operations directly, and then they'll go wherever the need is. The other thing that's nice about that model is like when we have football, right? So those people can come in at 1 o'clock instead of having to have someone coming in at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and working all the way till the end of a football game. It's more efficient for the district to bring those floaters in at 1 o'clock, and they'll be there for the whole football game and avoid overtime. And so it'll be the same thing with the management hierarchy. Right now, that's kind of muddied. And so we're going to clear those lines up throughout our implementation of the findings of our audit. And again, like I said, overall operating budget will be the impact. Right now, we don't really have any SOPs, so standard operating procedures. So that is a concern for myself and obviously with the audit. And so we're working on making those as we speak. Getting feedback from our head custodians at our campuses, looking at industry standards, looking at models in other districts. We're definitely phoning our neighbors and saying, hey, what do you guys do? I've been over custodial before in my other districts, and so I'm looking at the models that we had before, what worked, what didn't work, so we can get those processes in place. The training will happen we're already doing some training. We've been doing some, but most of it's going to be over the summer. So we have very specific ways on what we should do and how we should do things. And then there'll be ongoing training throughout the year once we have the trainer in. And so the trainer, once they're in place, then they'll go around from campuses and making sure that SOPs are being followed. We're doing things with fidelity, helping where we need to help out, and growing people to the level that we expect them to be at. Right now, there is not a custodial handbook. And so we are also working to create a custodial handbook that'll have those standard operating procedures, have resources for our custodians. Right now, we have not done a good job as a district of providing them with the resources that they need. And so we are going to provide those. That way they have a go-to guide of, okay, well, I have this issue. What do I do with that, right? Okay, so we also looked at shifts and efficiencies. In this district, we did not have true night shifts. As an industry standard, you're always going to have a night shift because it's really hard to clean the school appropriately when you have children in it. And so we have moved to having a true night shift. Before, we just kind of had an open and a midday shift, and most of our custodians were off just a couple hours after the bell rang. And so there wasn't a whole lot of time for them to actually get in there and clean the building without the students in the building. And as you know, a lot of our campuses have after-hours opportunities for the students, which makes it even harder when you don't have custodians there till later into the night. So we have moved to that model already. There was too many staff on duty during the day while the students are present. We spoke about that. And the other problem was the way we were aligned within the department was it was acceptable for us to be cleaning things the next morning. Well, that turned into having other concerns that arise when you leave out trash and things like that into classrooms, right? And so we've done away with that practice. The school is to be cleaned when the doors are shut, and when the last custodian leaves, there shouldn't be any trash left in the school. Prior to that shift here a week ago, we did have that in practice. So again, like I said, 90% of our cleaning should be done when students are not there. And so we will have a time to accomplish that and also deal with the rodent concerns. So just data for you guys, what the audit found and I found myself. So those are our neighbors and the shifts that they have. If you look, we're at the bottom. So across the district, there's a couple exceptions like DLA and DAP because they're a smaller campus and their bell schedule's a little different. But as a standard, we have an AM shift now that's 6 a.m. to 2:30, a mid shift that's 10 to 6:30, and the reason why it's 10 o'clock is I work with our child nutrition director, and she lets me know whenever lunches are going to start. We make sure that midday shift comes in before lunch starts, and so that way we can have those extra custodians there to help out in the cafeteria and still maintain the school with the influx of trash that comes from the cafeteria. And then at 1:15, the night crew comes in, and they work until 9:45. You will notice that we are very generous with our night, I'm pointing up there like y'all can see me, I'm sorry, with our nighttime crew. You know, again, like I said, those are just things that we know we have to work through what works for our district. Not everything is going to be the same for every district, but most district shifts are much later, and that's the reason why. It's an industry standard. You're not going to find a school district that lets their people off before 10. And so, like I said, so that's the data from our neighbors. Okay. So we currently have contracted our uniforms and some of our supplies. And so we are working to operate to purchase the services and supplies outright as a much cheaper rate. You know, we don't need to continue to rent things when we can own things and maintain them ourselves. It's like anything else. It's like leasing a car versus buying a car, right? At the end of the day, if you have the ability to buy the car and work on it yourself, it's much cheaper than leasing it. And then we actually are doing an in-house sourcing pilot. And so like this building right here does not have any of those vendors. This building has all the supplies ourselves. We own everything for this building. I was able to do that within the current custodial budget. And so we're not renting anything in this building. When I'm talking about like just as simple as rags. We're not renting them here. We own the rags here. We wash them ourselves. We have washer and dryers throughout the district. And so that helps us save money. We are in negotiations with the contract that we currently have to get that more efficient, because that definitely was a very eye-opening thing when we did our audit as the money that we were spending on that. Reductions made to the expenditures to date. So implemented an inventory control system. So we're streamlining our supplies. I don't know if you've heard, but we've changed all of our paper products throughout the district. And so we're working through bumps on that, but it is a significant savings. When I tell you significant, I'm like talking about cutting it in a fourth, right? So we're obviously going to have some bumps in the road with that anytime you make a change district-wide, but we were all over the place. Every school had a different type of toilet paper dispenser, different type of paper towel. We were all over the place in the district. So now we can buy in bulk, and we can have the efficiencies of that. And then we also were kind of all over the place with our chemicals that we were using. So we've streamlined. We have the same chemicals at every single school now, every single campus. Again, it goes back to buying in bulk. And then we went through all of our vendors and made them re-quote us. That's just something that we hadn't done in a while, so I made sure that happened. Budget impact. So we should be able to reduce our supply budget by at least 15 to 20%. I think it'll be a little higher than that, honestly, but I'm being conservative. I don't want Karen to hold me to some crazy number. No, just kidding. Significant reduction in OT on campuses and athletic events, and that's what I was talking about earlier about those floaters. right? So we'll be able to position those folks to where it cuts our overtime down. Right now, a lot of people they're having to do it because we don't have nobody to do it, and they're exhausted by the time they've worked a full day at the school. And then in payroll, so again, that is once we get down to the number that TASBO recommends that we should have. That won't be tomorrow. That's going to take time, right? As we bring on campuses, we'll be able to. Just like this campus right here, we didn't have to add positions for admin. We were able to pull from other places. When the South Service Center opens down south, we're going to be able to pull from other places and bring our numbers down to bring them more in line. And that should be it. Yep. Questions?
How did you determine who would get what shift? Was it based on seniority or?
So we had a couple tools. So it was seniority was number one, and then we looked at attendance and coaching. So has the employee had bad attendance or any coaching documents? And so that's how the custodial supervisor, Ms. Priscilla, did that. Coaching documents? Write up. We call those coaching documents.
A memorandum, a write-up.
Yeah. Discipline, yeah. We don't write people up, Ms. Axton, we coach them. You're welcome. Any more questions? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Cox, thank you for your presentation. Next item on the agenda is item 8, construction update. It's on page 72 in your board book. As Mr. Lewis from LEN approaches, board and audience, I do want to recognize this is a new facility, as you know, but it didn't just happen by poof and it just appeared. It was a culmination of a lot of work by people who are sitting in this room tonight. One of them is LEN, and Scotty Lewis works with LEN. They are a project manager company. Over here we have representing Huckabee Architects, Mr. Alloway. So as you look around and see how things are designed, it's kind of like when you have a house built, certain, doors and windows, that's all from the architects. And this building looks as great as it does because of them. But the company that made it all come together, it's kind of like the kid who actually builds the Lego item in the living room. That is ICI Construction. Bailey, if you'll raise your hand. Bailey is here, and the gentleman next to him, they're with ICI Construction. They were the actual construction company to make sure all the doors fit right, all the windows fit right, all the electrical outlets go where they're supposed to go. So it is an amazing building. We've moved into it, and we have freed up tons of portable space behind the high school that Dr. Miller will be moving students into as additional students move into the district. So every inch of space in this district will constantly be utilized. All right, Mr. Lewis, it's all yours.
Well, Mr. McCandless kind of stole my thunder because I was going to introduce these guys because everything he said is exactly true. Good evening, board, Mr. McCandless. Thank you for allowing me to do this. And yes, it's a fabulous building. And honestly, when we started this bond 4 years ago, if you would have told me that we would be we've built a lot of great facilities over the past 4 years, and it has been a fast and furious 4 years, and that we would kind of culminate with this building. It was the last one in this current bond program, and it was a challenge to make it fit within the budget, and we were able to do that. And then for it to turn out the way that it has, and it's a pillar for the community, I really believe. And I'm really proud to have gotten to work with the school district and to be part of the Cleveland community. I'm going to show you some pictures of the building that you're currently in. These were taken last Monday. So the building, it changes every week. And so it's changed today from what it looked like last Monday. But we had a great day last Monday, so the sun was out, and so the pictures will show. So as far as where the building kind of sits out right now, we wouldn't be in here if the CO wasn't issued. And also the certificate of substantial completion, which kind of sets the date for the warranty to start. That's been established. They're still working through on the HVAC testing and balancing. So there's some places in the building. We are doing much better. The company, the air conditioning company and the controls, we use somebody different than what we used on the other campuses, especially on controls, and they are much farther along. So we're pretty close to having a tab report, but there's still a few hot and cold spots and some things that have to be worked through. The lighting control programs have been programmed, which that is like another key thing. I'll be honest, I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but we're still having some issues in some other schools. And so once we get those two things wrapped up, the commissioning can then be completed on the building. That's something that's required by the state. And so the punch list has been established, and ICI is working on that right now. You would not, by looking at the building, think that there would be very many items, but there's quite a few. They're very minute. There's a lot of like very aesthetic type things that they're working through, but all of those lists have been issued, and they're working on getting those completed. As we've seen tonight, there's been some little glitches in the AV system, and there's some parts and pieces that still haven't arrived, so they're getting close to getting that work done. Those window blinds, there's actually window blinds that go in here that will be electric, and so those things will be wrapping up in the next few weeks. And then the furniture installation is done. They started furniture right after Christmas, and been working through that, and I believe the last of the staff had moved in last week. So this was as of last Monday. This is the building. We had a beautiful blue day, and hopefully when it's getting warmer, these plants, they'll get more established. They were able to save most of them from the freeze. Any that didn't make it, though, they'll be replaced as part of warranty. This is the room that we're currently in right now. And this is the graphic. They finished this that week before. If you haven't had a chance, when you leave the meeting or come over here and take a look at it, it's fabulous. It really makes that main lobby hallway pop. It was beautiful before, but it's even better now, and with all the photos and the history that's part of Cleveland. This is up on the second floor, looking down that hallway and looking down at the graphic. It's a really neat space because it gives you the impression. Well, it does. That hallway is cantilevered across with that glass handrail. This is the large staff development room. I did not have the code, and I wasn't going to dare touch those, but those coming out of the ceiling, those come down, and that room can be separated into 3 separate rooms. And the sound in each, so when the doors are all up, it can broadcast as one room like this room, but when the doors come down, it senses that, and it will treat it as 3 separate rooms. As far as the AV goes. This is as you enter from the staff development. So when you do staff development, they will park on the back side of the building and be able to come in and check in. And this space here is also set up to where if, when they cater and be able to check people in, but they can also set up for meals. It just turned out to a great space, and then you can go to whichever room that you need to go to and back in the staff development area. This is the main kitchen area. We wanted it to be more of a cafe to create more opportunities for people to congregate. I've taken pictures of all these before, but never where they were actually finished. So it just turned out fabulous, especially with the furniture. This is a graphic. This was an inspiration of Mr. McCandless, and this is right outside of where of the cafe area, and it's got some soft seating and the Cleveland ISD way. Moving on to the Satellite Service Center. Right now, they have about finished up with the lime stabilization out there. They're forming concrete. They've actually, I'm going to show some pictures of the first concrete pour. They actually poured concrete this past Wednesday, and they've got another concrete pour significant concrete pour this Wednesday, and that will get them pretty close to being finished. That, I don't think they'll be totally finished, but pretty close to finishing the concrete portion. The underground utilities are complete, and the building is scheduled to be set over spring break. We were trying to do that over the winter break, but we just had too much rain, and it didn't make any sense. We held it off until March. So, as you can see, the pour started at 2 a.m. in the morning. I was not there, but we had people there. I'm not going to lie. I was asleep. But this was the first pour, and you can see kind of the progress of where they're at. This was 600 yards of concrete. And then this is a shot in the morning. Mark Boyd, one of my teammates, he was there at the concrete pour. He's a concrete expert, and I want him there instead of me anyways. And he took a shot in that morning, shooting back across, looking at Cottonwood. Real quick update on the other projects. On North Side, the warranty items, we finally got completion on those. The building commissioning, I'm just waiting on a report, but it's complete. I haven't gotten confirmation on the MAPES panels. There's some of the windows that were still needed to be done. I just need confirmation. It may be that we don't do those till March. And then the traffic signal that goes out there on FM 2025, the contractor, it's a separate contractor. They'll have the signal in hand around the middle to late April. I asked them to maybe look at just holding off until school lets out in May and finish up the signal at that time. So we don't want to impact the students and the parent pickup drop-off. Over at the middle school and elementary school, this is the one I'm saying warranty items are 99%. I'll be honest, I had a conversation today with Adam Alpha, with the district, and there's still some issues, and I asked him to get me a list, and we're going to have a discussion with the contractor. The baseball, softball is complete, and Pineborough Elementary is complete. Any questions? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Moving right along, item 9 on the agenda, reports. Item A, superintendent's report. Before we move on to item 1, I do want to, Ms. Rangel and Officer Mays, it is time for the attendance awards. All right, these competitive principals in here, they always get ready for this. It's interesting to see who the winner will be.
It's on. Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Yes? I'm Ms. Rangel and Officer Mays. I would like to present, we missed the third 6 weeks because of inclement weather, and we weren't able to recognize those who were supposed to be recognized, but I would like to recognize them anyway. And that's going to be for Southside Elementary. Gets the third 6 weeks. Sorry for that. Hold on, let me give you the. Thank you. Here you go. Here you go. Awesome. And then for secondary, it's going to be Santa Fe Middle School. Are they here? Here you go.
Thank y'all, everyone. Thank you.
All right, now for the fourth 6 weeks.
Hold on. Do I get to take the trophy home if I don't win the 4 6 weeks?
No.
Oh, we need to talk about
Well, who was holding the title for this, for the second 6 weeks? It was Miss Castillo, right? Can you come up? Can you please come up? And who was holding the title? Mr., can you please come up? I'm gonna do something a little bit different. If you can,
pass it off to somebody?
yes. Okay, now for the fourth 6 weeks, for elementary, it's going to be East Side. Here you go. Thank you. And for the secondary, it's going to be Santa Fe Middle School. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Rangel and Officer Mays. Principals, thank you for your hard work you're doing to work on attendance. It's a necessary thing, but y'all have made it less daunting. So we'll see who wins next month. Thank you. Item 1 on Superintendent's Report, recognition of the Cleveland ISD board members for their service. So January was the school board recognition month, and as you know, with the weather like it was, we could actually thank our school board every single month. They're a group of people who donate and dedicate their time, and they don't get paid 1 penny to do what they do. And what they do is in service to the community, to the parents, to the students, to the staff of this district. They do a lot. They take on a lot. They listen to a lot. And I enjoy working with them and collaborating with them and them keeping me in check when they need to keep me in check. They're a great team to work with. We're called the Team of 8. But I wanted to take time to recognize them for their service, for what they do. This whole last school year has passed by so quickly, and the next year will pass by quickly as well. So from me, school board, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do for this district. It's very much appreciated. Now, I could go down the row and say speech, 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 but I'm not going to do it. But thank you all so much for what you do. Item number 2, recognition of commitment to Tracy Narvaez, the CMS nurse. So we have Miss Castillo and Miss Lacey Green. If you will come up and be with Miss Castillo, Miss Green's over nursing, and I'm going to let them do this presentation to Miss Narvaez.
So we want to recognize Tracy Narvaez for her commitment to our students, their safety, her willingness to treat all students with kindness and fairness, her can-do attitude, and being an example to all staff of dedication to the students of CISD. We had a medical emergency last month, and Ms. Narvaez actually broke her ankle and continued administering the medical attention the student required. We have on video where she is rubbing her leg but has our student in her arms, and she never once let him go. So again, thank you so much, Ms. Narvaez. We're blessed to have you at CMS.
Thank you so much, Ms. Castillo, Ms. Green, and Ms. Narvaez. Thank you for choosing to work in Cleveland ISD. The next item on the agenda, item 3, Warming Centers Report in recognition of Benny Burge by Dr. Rebecca Sanford.
President Wood, members of the board, Mr. McCandless, good evening. On the morning of Thursday, January 11th, on the wake of the hard freeze that was forecasted for several days, I received an email that read, "Good morning, Dr. Sanford. The coming weather event has me thinking about our children who are experiencing homelessness and those whose parents may have difficulty keeping their homes warm with the below freezing temperatures we are expecting. Is there any way the district can open a warming place for them during the wintry weather? Maybe one in the south region and one in the north." As a result of this email and the quick response of our superintendent and our school board members, we were able to be a beacon of light and safe haven for our students and their families during this unfavorable weather conditions. Our warming centers opened at 9 a.m. on Sunday, January 14th at Cleveland Middle School and Santa Fe Middle School. We served 5 families for a total of 19 people. The Red Cross dropped off cots, blankets, and personal care kits and also provided pizza. Deputy West with the Constable's Office donated stuffed animals, and our technology department donated a basket of puzzles, games, coloring books, and crayons for the children. We closed our warming center at Cleveland Middle School at 8 p.m. on Tuesday night and 5 a.m. at Santa Fe Middle on Wednesday morning in preparation for the reopening of school. We had a total of 56 volunteers at our warming centers. 19 were leadership team members, 7 assistant principals, 17 staff members that volunteered, along with 12 spouses and children of those staff members, and we even had 1 school board member volunteer. So, on behalf of our superintendent, members of the board, and our school community, I would like to recognize Mr. Benny Burge for his caring spirit and commitment to excellence.
Thank you, Dr. Sanford. Thank you, Mr. Burge, for your commitment to students and for choosing to work in Cleveland ISD. Item 4, student enrollment and attendance rate data. Our student enrollment as of Friday, February the 23rd, we are at 12,185 students. And I'll remind you, when we opened for school on August 8th, we were at 10,441. So we are heading towards adding an additional 2,000 students before too long. And our attendance rate data, we currently sit at 92.26, and I see Ms. Billingsley over there writing that number down. As you know, we base our budget on a certain attendance rate, and principals, you are keeping that attendance rate at what we were budgeted for. So keep up the great work, and you can even bump it up a little higher if you feel the need to be more competitive. All right. Item 5, Region 4 Elementary and Secondary Principal of the Year announcement. I would like for our Secondary Principal of the Year, Miss Christina Castillo, I'm getting tongue twisted, I'm so excited for her, to please stand up. And our Elementary Principal of the Year, Miss Heather Barrett from Cottonwood, to please stand up. We're just doing stand-in ovations. Their commitment to students and improving the outcomes on their campus is why they were selected. With the amazing changes that have taken place at Cleveland Middle School over the last 3 years, nearly half discipline referrals from the last 3 years. There's been a major change at Cleveland Middle School. And at Cottonwood, with the student performance data just increasing dramatically with the data we are seeing. So keep up the great work at Cottonwood as well, principals. Thank you. Item 6, Texas School Safety Center, the TEA Notice of Intruder Detection Audit. It was conducted on a random date, and we had no findings here in Cleveland ISD with the last audit. So great job, principals, keeping your campuses safe. Item 7, spring break will be March 11 through the 15th. The district is closed during that week. There may be scattered people working, but that has been prearranged with their department leads. Item 8, the annual team building training will be held on March 25th, Board. That is a Monday night, the week after we return from spring break. That is our training that we have that's required from Region 4. Item 9, early voting for the Cleveland ISD School Board election will be April the 22nd through April the 30th of 2024. Item 10, election day voting for the Cleveland ISD School Board election is Saturday, May the 4th, 2024, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So the polls will be busy that day. Item 11, the TASB Summer Leadership Institute. That is scheduled for June 12th through the 15th in San Antonio. That is where school boards across the state go with their superintendent to the Summer Leadership Institute to get their required training. Just like teachers and principals and all of us, your board members have required trainings that they must satisfy as well. Board items B and C, I will read those together. It's on page 92 and 128 respectively. Item B is financial reports, and item C is your campus and department reports. If you have questions, department leads are present. No questions? Thank you, sir. Item 10, consent agenda items. Board, I will read both of these. Item A is on page 179, approve bills and payroll. And item B on page 339, approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January the 16th and transportation workshop and special meeting of February the 5th.
Questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Item 11 is considered agenda items. I will read them individually. Item A is on page 346. Consider approval of proposal for low attendance day waiver.
Do I have a motion, please? A motion from Kelly. Do I have a second from Willie? Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Item B on page 356, consideration and possible action on action approving agreement regarding Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP as being fully qualified as special counsel to perform all legal services necessary to collect unpaid delinquent ad valorem taxes as provided in section 6.30 of the Texas Tax Code.
Have a motion, please. Have a motion from Kelly. You have a second, please. Second from Amanda. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Item C on page 358, consideration and possible action to approve an agreement for tax collection services with Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP after having provided adequate notice as required by section 2254, part 1036 of the Texas Government Code, and authorizing the board president to execute said agreement.
Do I have a motion, please? And a motion from Willie. I have a second from Coach. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Item D, consider approval of district budgeted purchases above $50,000 as per CH local policy. Item 1 is on page 364. Consider approval of a service contract with First Choice Educational Solutions, project requisition for special education testing for students. The funding source is special education allotment.
Do I have a motion, please? A motion from Kelly. Do I have a second, please? second from Willie. Any questions or discussion?
Ms. Wallace, if you'd come to the podium, please. A board member would like explanation on the item just announced.
Sure, no problem. We contract with a few entities to provide overflow special education testing, including using diagnosticians, speech language pathologists, and school psychologists. So this particular company is doing a really good job. They're pretty close to us, and they're a bit less expensive than some of the other ones that we've been using. So kind of shifting funds more than anything so that we can get a better bang for our buck.
Because the other was a little more expensive than what you were asking for tonight.
Yes, sir.
So this is mainly for SPED or combination?
Yes, this is completely special education. And it has to do with evaluations and testing for those kids for eligibility purposes for special education.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Item 2 on page 371, consider approval of contracted services with Jennifer Moore for physical therapy services for the students. Funding is the special education allotment.
Do I have a motion, please?
So often.
Motion from Willie. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second from Wendy. Any questions or discussion?
Is this someone we're already using? Okay, and we're just extending her contract?
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Before we recess to executive session, if there's any guest in the room tonight who would like to take a few minutes to walk through the building, you're more than welcome to do so. It looks like we have plenty of staff members who might give up 3 to 5 minutes of their time to show you if you want to see it. If not, you're welcome to come back anytime during the regular workday. Mr. President?
I believe we have a few more HVAC testing. Is that not on your agenda?
No, it goes to executive session here.
Okay. We've got a couple or 3 more. Item E says consider approval of HVAC test and balance services for the new staff development and administration building project with TAB Technologies LLC. We're not doing that tonight? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this, maybe this got left on the agenda or something.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. According to the posted agenda, we are now at executive session. I'll clarify that tomorrow, Mr. Board President, with Ms. Chapo.